Welcome to the Confident Motherhood Podcast. I'm your host, Anne, mama of two, holistic pregnancy and pediatric sleep consultant, and the founder of Empowered Decisions. In our seasons together, I'm here to help you step into your inner confidence from pregnancy to motherhood. Whether you are preparing to meet your baby or integrating into new mom life, this is a safe space with education and support for your journey. Join me as we raise the vibe of our motherhood collective. Welcome back to the Confident Motherhood Podcast. Hi, I'm Anne, your holistic pregnancy and infant and toddler sleep coach and podcast host. And today we are talking about 3 tips to improve your toddler's sleep and sleep confidence. And when we get into toddler sleep struggles, oftentimes it can feel very defeating. I have been a sleep coach for almost 8 years now. My son, who was the first baby I ever coached, is going to turn 8 this summer. And when he was 4 months, he was the first baby I ever coached. And I have shared this story before, but over the years, over the past almost 8 years, I have worked with hundreds of toddler families, and almost every single one, when I get on that initial call or we're working together, will share some story of defeat. Like they were babies and they had sleep struggles and we just thought sleep would get better. And I've said for a long time, babies who have sleep struggles become toddlers commonly who have sleep struggles because we're told a lot. They're like, oh, they'll sleep eventually. This is a phase. They'll grow out of it. But more often than not, that doesn't happen. And this is child by child. This is why assessing sleep can be really helpful and beneficial for your family to just assess what's going on to see if there's some things that we can be changing for them and all these layers and kind of puzzle pieces that affect your child's sleep to head sleep in a better direction. So let's say for you, if you're tuning in or you're attracted to this podcast title, or you heard me talking about this on social media, that when we have babies who have sleep struggles, who become toddlers who have sleep struggles, oftentimes parents feel like, is this my life forever? Is my child ever going to sleep? Am I ever going to get sleep? Is bedtime always going to be taking, 1, 2, whatever hours? Are they always going to be waking up in the middle of the night? Are they always going to be wanting me to come into the room? Are they always going to be coming into my room? Are we kind of always going to be dealing with this inconsistency of not having confidence in my child's sleep, not having confidence that they go to bed, not having confidence that they have nights where they're sleeping completely through? Because in all honesty, most parents aren't frustrated by random nights of sleep disruption or random nights where your toddler needs you. Like nobody's really upset about that. But when it is your lived in experience for months and years, that can feel very defeating. And toddler sleep, alongside baby sleep in general, is also very misunderstood. There's a lot of layers to pediatric sleep, and the more information and education that we have about toddler development, about pediatric sleep, how all of these layers come together. And when we have more of an understanding combined with it, our own deep personal understanding of our child, we can really make some sleep magic happen. So in this short episode, I wanted to share 3 tips to improve your toddler's sleep and sleep confidence. And I say sleep and sleep confidence because just like you have lost confidence in their sleep, they have too, in a way, but not in the same way. Not in like, oh, I'm going into my night tonight. I don't think I'm going to sleep very great. It's that usually things can kind of feel like all over the place for them and their little mind is constantly developing. So we want to help kind of narrow, create some more structure, and like we want to simplify sleep for them also. So we can kind of take away, or I should say shift, your toddler's running everything, right? They're controlling bedtime and you're just kind of like surviving it in a way. So the first tip that I have for you is rebuilding sleep trust. And I wanted to kick off with this tip because commonly when I'm working with toddler families, their child is usually experiencing some sort of separation anxiety or getting really upset when it's bedtime, getting really upset when they wake up and, the parent that fell asleep with them is no longer there. And now we have lots of crying and upset and coming into your room. And obviously sleep struggles are on a spectrum. So we have sleep struggles that are not so bad and we have sleep struggles that are really bad. And anytime I ever talk about anything sleep, newborn, infant, toddler, it is never one size fits all. But when we think of toddlers who are having sleep struggles, usually those conversations are coming into play in some capacity. So when we are coaching with toddlers, I want to narrow this down a little bit further because coaching or working with, let's say, a 2.5, whatever, a toddler that's still in a crib is a different experience. Not that children of that age don't have sleep struggles, because they do, but I'm talking about a toddler who is in their own bed, essentially, or has their own sleep space that they can get out of, because this starts to be like a whole new ball game where we have maybe lots of back and forth at bedtime, or, your child needs you to lay with them, something. We don't have that really confinement anymore. And when they are, what I would say, out of sleep jail and sleep is kind of all over the place, that sleep trust can be broken. And one of the first phases when I am working with families inside of my 2-week coaching containers is we want to rebuild that trust. I think sleep training methods like Cry It Out, Ferber, whatever, have also led parents who have never wanted to do that. And now you have toddlers where sleep is a problem, where you're like, I can't just lock my toddler in a room and have them cry. You wouldn't want to do that as a baby. You damn sure are not going to want to do it as a toddler. So rebuilding that trust is where I will bring, if a parent's not in there already, which is normal, I'll bring either mom or dad or one of the parents into the room to just help that child get comfortable in their own sleep space, but also have a parent there that is providing that support and structure. So phase 1, as we're, again, sleep is a puzzle, so we're always moving with lots of different layers. There's scheduling and sleep environment and routines. There's always things that we're working on all together, but a big part of phase 1 when I work with families is rebuilding sleep trust with that child, because without that trust and confidence, you are working with that child in a state of emotional dysregulation, anxiety, a lot of resistance and stress, and that isn't going to yield results, nor is that going to really yield long-term success. So tip number 1 is we want to rebuild that trust. And sometimes when I'm coming into the equation where parents are frustrated and tired and whatnot, we kind of just have to pause and shake it off, assess, get a good plan together, and then be like, okay, now we are going to head into making some sleep changes. And that one being that we need to rebuild trust. It's okay to be in that room. It's okay to be supporting them. We just need to create more structure, which is tip number 2. Creating more structure. And I think the word structure in general doesn't always vibe with everybody, right? Like some families don't have any structure. Some families are super structured. The type of structure that I'm referring to is you got to create a routine. I don't care if that routine is something that I would exactly do or something that you would do, but creating a bedtime routine creates predictability for your child. And in a way, it gives them security in knowing what to expect. So we put ourselves in the mind of a toddler. They naturally resist anything, right? I want to get in the bath. No, I don't want to get in the bath. You want to get out of the bath? No, I don't want to get out of the bath. You want to put on those jammies? No, I want to put on those jammies. They're constantly striving for autonomy, right? But they're also developmentally always pushing boundaries. That's what they're meant to be doing. So we want to accept that is normal and expected and a beautiful thing. We need to create the structure around that. So creating consistent bedtime routines, consistent nap routines, your child knows what they're walking into. So it's not like they're walking into a storm every time and they don't know. And some nights we do this and sometimes we don't do that. Sometimes it's at this time and other nights it's at that time. So just in general, I want you to kind of just assess, what do our bedtimes currently look like right now? What time are they starting? How long are they taking? What do you want it to look like? And when I'm working with families inside containers, we are building that. We are building those routines to make sure that is fitting for your family. But that structure is so important because with consistency, you see less resistance. They're not just going to stop pushing boundaries because that's developmental, but we can evolve with them in their development to kind of ebb and flow of like where we can give them more decision making to help them feel like they're in a little bit more control. Ultimately, I want to get that control back to you as parents because that's when we have more harmony and easeability in nap and nighttime routines. Okay, the third one, which is a big one and oftentimes goes completely missed. The third tip is prevent overtiredness for your toddler. And here's a big clue that your toddler is overtired. When we think of small children, even ourselves, being tired, we think of yawning and eye rubbing and those sorts of things. When it comes to an overtired toddler, they may have had moments of that, But a big sign that your toddler is overtired going into bedtime is they're bouncing off the walls. They got the zoomies. They're like really hard to reason with. They just seem super hyper. They don't want to listen, all of these different things. Generally what happens is they did hit some pocket of tiredness. Sometimes that could be in the mid-afternoon going into dinner time. And then what happens is there's a little dip in sleep pressure in the body, and the body gets a little second wind. And when that body gets a second wind, bring on the hyperness and bring on a more delayed and resisted, fought back and forth bedtime. So where we can prevent overtiredness, this is magic. And I tell this with families all the time that I'm working with them. We could have a perfect routine. We could have all of these different things. If your child is overtired, we are fighting in a storm. Like we're trying to create peace in a storm. And that's really hard to do. I usually say this a lot in my episodes. Anytime I'm talking about sleep, sleep is a puzzle. So we have to bring in the routines and the sleep environment and the new sleep expectations. We have to prevent overtiredness, make sure they're on an age-appropriate schedule. So one simple way that you can prevent overtiredness is possibly by pulling up bedtime. And early bedtime is subjective, right? Early for some may be 6, early for some may be 7, early for some may be 8, but generally that's a window, right? So sometimes, or I would say a lot of the times, I have parents that are starting, they want their child to be down earlier, but if bedtime goes and takes 1 to 2 hours, then maybe they're falling asleep 9, 10 o'clock at night. And again, that bedtime routine may have started at 6 and their child's falling asleep at 8 and they're like, what is happening? But preventing overtiredness, we have to look at nap and we also have to look at the morning. So sometimes getting earlier bedtimes means making nap time adjustments, or maybe nap's in a great place, but bedtime's just too late. So we have to make some shifts there. So I have a guide to help with this. It's a free guide found in my freebie vault. I'll make sure it's tagged in this episode. 3 steps to stress-free sleep. I break down awake windows and I also run it through Toddlerhood. So you can have an idea of kind of timing, durations, and like where to put things. You can also book a free sleep coaching explore call and I can help you build that personalized to your child. But nonetheless, preventing overtiredness is a major unlock because what it helps do alongside an age-appropriate schedule is it helps make sure that your child is heading into nap or nighttime sleep with optimal sleep pressure. And sleep pressure is actual pressure that builds in the body, but it creates a readiness for sleep. It's a momentum, it's a drive for your child. And it is desperately needed, not only for them to fall asleep, but to stay asleep. So this is where when we do have an improved or updated bedtime routine and we got a good time and they have good sleep pressure, everything is easier, whether we're talking coaching and we're helping them learn to sleep independently, or you have your own routines and systems that go on. You just want bedtime to be easier, better sleep pressure, and prevent the overtiredness. So top 3 tips to recap. We want to rebuild sleep trust. We want to create more structure and we want to prevent overtiredness. And these could be 3 big game changers for you when it comes to improving your toddler's sleep. I hope that this episode today was helpful. If you need any help from me, you know where to find me. Until the next episode, lots of love. Whether you're a tired mom struggling with your little one's sleep or an expecting mom looking for empowerment and advocacy as you prepare for birth, I'm here to show up for you with proven strategies and education to elevate your journey. You deserve to feel heard and given the tools to have success. Mama, you do not have to navigate your pregnancy or sleep struggles alone. Head over to empoweredwithann.com to discover how we can support you. Confidence, empowerment, and peace are just a click away.